Hey screen printers, welcome to another video tutorial brought to you by LearnHowToScreenPrint.com. My name's Gino. In today's episode, we're going to show you how to print multiple colors using discharge ink to create a soft, fashionable shirt. Let's take a look at the shirt. Alright, so our customer is looking for a very soft, fashionable shirt. With discharge ink, you will get rid of the dye in the cotton, which was gray in this case, and leave it whatever color the discharge was, whether it be white or red. For the black there, we used water-based ink. So yeah, that's a multiple color print using discharge inks, and this is a 50-50 dry blend shirt. We're going to be printing with a dry blend shirt, just a black one, and we're going to be printing with a cotton shirt. And we'll show you the differences when you use discharge ink on a cotton shirt and discharge ink on a poly blend shirt. Discharge is typically made just for cotton, but you can use it on 50-50s in some instances. Let's take a look at some of those. Okay, so for the colors in our design, we picked some Pantone color swatches. For the design we're going to be printing, we picked a Pantone color swatch, number 226. And for mixing discharge inks, you'll start out with a base. Typically this is a clear base, and you'll use some concentrated pigments. You'll mix these using cups, gram scale, to figure out, the correct number or formula to get your Pantone color swatch. A lot of ink manufacturers will list the color separation and the color mixing software on their website. So we went to the website for our ink manufacturer here, put in 226, put in Pantone color swatch number 226, and I think we mixed 150 grams. That's what we were looking for. Okay, to do so, we mix our clear base with the pigments. We used a gram scale. We have it here. And you have to mix in the activator. Discharge is activated by an activator, and you'll mix that in. Once that's mixed into the discharge base and the pigments, you have about 8 hours to use this ink before it no longer discharges. So we have all our colors mixed together. Okay, it doesn't really look the exact same right now. 226. Kind of see if you can get a look. It looks a little bit more red. With discharge, it is kind of hard to get accurate Pantone color swatches, and the ink won't always look the exact color until you print it and it comes out cured. So we're going to go ahead and stick with that for now, and we're going to move on to the next process. We have our screen set up on the printing press, and we're ready to roll. All right, so the next step in printing discharge is determining the correct screen order for your design. One of the good things about printing with discharge is you don't need a white underbase. We're going to be printing multiple colors, wet on wet, and yeah, so we're going to be using a black shirt. So when you're using dark colored shirts, you want to print the dark colors first in the design and work your way to the lighter colors, especially when you're printing wet on wet with Plastisol. But for discharge, same process. We're going to print some of the darker colors first in the design. We're going to print brown, then like a bluish green, then the pink, and then the white. So let's move over to the Platens, load some shirts, and show you what I'm talking about. All right, let's go ahead and start printing. First color in the design is brown. We've got our discharge ink mixed in. I'm going to give it a flood. All right, so as you can see, we've printed brown, but discharge ink really isn't too visible until it goes through the conveyor dryer. Let's move on to the next color. We decided to go with some teal, greenish sprinkles for this design here. Okay, so we've got brown and teal printed, wet on wet, no underbase on a black cotton shirt. We have the next design, the next screen in the design, and this is going to be Pantone color swatch 226. Flood the screen. Okay. So now we have white, brown, and teal. Excuse me. We have brown, teal, and pink. Last color is white. Usually for Plastisol ink, you're going to have to flash the underbase and then overprint it with your other colors. But for discharge, you don't need a white underbase. All right, so there's the shirt. Okay, we're going to clear that screen. It looks like it pulled up on the board a little bit. There we go. A lot better. So now the screen is cleared. We're going to go ahead and throw this in the conveyor dryer. So let's move over to the conveyor dryer and we'll show you the shirt with the activation process or discharge process. All right, here we go. We're throwing the shirt on the dryer. Make sure we got plenty of room there. As you can see, the ink really isn't visible now. That's where discharge comes in. Discharge will work better if you're using a forced air conveyor dryer. If we take a look up here, we can take a look at our conveyor dryer. All right, so our conveyor dryer, we're using a BBC's forced air conveyor dryer. We have a button over here that will turn forced air on. You definitely want to use forced air for discharge. I highly recommend it. The forced air will force the water out of the base. That way the ink can start discharging. All right, so the BBC, we have a time control over here where we can control the amount of time that the shirt is in the chamber. We have our screen print, we have our heat on, we can change the heat settings over here. For discharge t-shirts, we'll usually set it around 495, and we'll keep the shirts anywhere from a minute and 30 seconds to a minute 35 in the chamber. So let's go take a look at the shirt as it discharges and exits the conveyor dryer. All right, so as you can see, the discharge ink, it's steaming, the heat is activating. I'm gonna raise it up here so you can see the shirt. After you first print it, you really can't see the ink, but after it's went through the conveyor dryer and the forced air has pushed all the water out, the dye is being activated and it is dyeing the cotton, replacing the cotton color of black, and it's replacing it with pink, teal, brown, and white. So now these colors are actually part of the shirt. Very soft tan, very fashionable. This is a discharge ink on a 100% cotton shirt. We're going to show you the difference between 50/50 and cotton shirts when you discharge them. Let's take a look. All right, so we have a cotton shirt with discharge ink. We forgot to tape off some of our registration marks there. So that's one of the things with working with discharge. I couldn't use a spot gun and get rid of that. That's actually discharged the black dye in the garment. So be careful when you're printing with discharge. If you get pinholes in your screens, sometimes you won't even realize it until the shirts have already exited the conveyor dryer and the ink's already been activated. This right here, this is discharge on a 50/50 dry blend. 50% cotton, 50% polyester. Only the cotton will discharge. That's why this one is not as bright as that one. It's a lot darker because the polyester would not discharge. It's plastic. You can't re-dye the plastic. The cotton shirt, a lot brighter. Some customers, they still may go with this. It's kind of a vintage look. All right, so to kind of wrap up and summarize things, discharge ink will give you a very soft, fashionable hands. Just be careful. You kind of have to pick and choose the shirts that you work with discharge ink. Even some cotton shirts, such as royal blue, Kelly green, and purple, the dyes that they use to make those shirts that color, they will not work with the discharge. So sometimes you have to test out the particular brand of t-shirt and the different colors to figure out if that shirt is dischargeable or not. Some of the other things with discharge ink is the smell. If you're going to ever flash your discharge, you want to have a ventilation system. The chemicals that are used to make discharge agent, some of it has formaldehyde in it. So be careful with the chemicals, and be careful printing. Watch out for accumulation of smoke or just the chemicals. If you're flashing it, just kind of be careful about that. Ventilation system will work best. So thank you for watching this video tutorial brought to you by Learn How to Screen Print, and we hope you do some discharge printing, play around with it, shoot us some links to pictures or anything like that of your brand or particular t-shirts you're printing. And thank you for watching. Until next time, happy printing.